Are we talking about federal stuff now?
Let's do it.
Let's talk about federal stuff. Are we in World War III yet?
Some people want us to be.
I feel like we are. I feel like it's a soft. I saw someone on Twitter last night on X. That's 1X, not 3. And they were. It's like a soft World War III, right? I mean, we got another $60 billion to Ukraine, $10 billion to Israel, $100 million to Gaza. Some, like I said earlier, some money is going to the Indo-Pacific. Like it's wild what's going on.
It's insane. Crazy. Are we in World War III?
This is the time I want you to say how old I am so that I won't be drafted.
39. That's fighting age in Ukraine.
Fuck.
Wow. Well, it's crazy. And I don't know if we're in World War III. I was having a little bit of a panic moment. The fear mongering even works on, people like me last night when they're like, somebody bombed, embassy was bombed and like there's drones swarming our ships in the Middle East. And it's like, and Biden's up there acting like it's 1950. You could have put his speech in black and white and it would have been like 1950 and we're going to drop now it was 1945. But the thing about it is I always say this to you, Brad, it's like, we're acting in a paradigm that doesn't exist anymore. We're not the only superpower in the world. We don't get to go around telling everybody what to do. And these weapons that we're talking about are not Hiroshima bombs. That was 1945. The weapons that we have, or we and other people have now, could take out the human civilization. It's not, and we're going around.
That's what the lizard people want, Michael.
I guess so. Nothing else makes sense. What are we doing? Like, here's who the people I'm listening to on this are like Glenn Greenwald, Colonel Douglas McGregor, and they're all like, people like that who are more anti-war. So I have a perspective, but they're like, guys, this is
David Frum.
And David Frum. This is dangerous, what we're doing. It's dangerous for us and it's dangerous for Israel. And we got to check ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, I guess then I think we have a little clip from Biden's speech last night from the Oval Office. Can we play that?
Yeah.
Sure.
East, especially in the Middle East. Iran is supporting Russia in Ukraine, and it's supporting Hamas and other terrorist groups in the region, and will continue to hold them accountable, I might add.
I mean, it's all just a big, like, all right, now Iran is in our crosshairs again, I guess. They never really left it. I don't really know. And they're supporting Russians in Ukraine. They're supporting Hamas. We're dedicating $60 billion now for Ukraine, $14 billion for Israel. In that he mentioned in that speech. And Iran's just going to be allowed to do this stuff. Like, Iran is the neocons' like favorite target. I think maybe. You think it's more than Russia or less than Russia? Like, who do they want to annihilate more, Iran or Russia?
The neocons?
I feel like it's Iran.
Yeah, the neocons.
Perfect scenario. Look who they're supporting.
This was part of what was that guy's name back in 2003? Oh gosh,
George Bush.
His name? Well, yeah, that guy, Richard Clark. And he came out and he left the Pentagon and he said, they have a plan and they're talking about it nonchalantly. They have a plan to invade 7 countries in 7 years. Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Libya. He goes through the whole Yemen. He goes through the whole thing. And the last one's Iran. And this is like project for a new American century or whatever the neocon think tanks like we're going to go invade all these countries, 5 of which we have done, or 6 of which we have already done. And Iran is the last one. So as far as the neocon faction goes, I think it's Iran. But if we're talking the neoliberal, now warmonger faction on the left, Russia's their prize, I think, or their fight.
Yeah, but I mean, even so, all right, where does Biden fall on that? In that paradigm, is he neoliberal or is he neocon?
He's shapeshifter.
Well, I mean, because he's talking about. I mean, they're using Iran, or he's using whoever wrote a speech and all the people like in his cabinet administration, all his influencers. his TikTok influencers are, pushing this idea. All right, well, Iran is backing, Russia and Ukraine, and they're backing Hamas and Israel. Israel is, that's untouchable. You touch Israel, America is going to get really upset, and that's no good, right? So even he is using Iran as it's all coming from here. If it wasn't for Iran, man, we'd be kicking Putin's butt. If it wasn't for Iran, Gaza would be free of Hamas's, reign of terror.
Well,
right?
I don't know that I don't know where he falls on this. I feel like he's nothing more than just like a prop for the underlying goal. And that's not just him. That's if it were Kamala, if it were a number of Republicans who are running in the Republican primary, if they were president. Like, I feel like you'd get this same messaging from a whole host of people who are at that level, and that they're just kind of nothing more than props for the underlying goal, which,
who doesn't talk like this?
Trump.
Trump.
Ding Dong, my favorite.
Oh God. He's doing that. He is doing that because he wants to swindle Republicans. He's talking about Iran because he needs Republicans. Yeah. He needs Republican support in the House of Representatives to get his Ukraine funding. Ukraine is his prize. And I'll say this, I'm not an expert, but that war is over. Ukraine cannot win that war. Like, what are we doing? First of all, we should have taken NATO off the table 2 years ago, and none of this would have happened. But now I'm just a Putin apologist. We're just sacrificing Ukrainian lives over there like we don't even care. But the strategy is we need to pigeonhole this through the House right now when there's no Speaker Jordan who would stop this. And there's Speaker Pro Tem McHenry who will get this done. And we need to pigeonhole while there's no speaker, and we need to tie the two together because we won't get one without the other. So he's trying to use the horrible things that happen in Israel to gain support for his Ukraine funding. That's what's happening. And that's why he's talking like that. And he wants conservatives to support this. And guess what? I'm predicting right now, they will fall for it. They will fall for it.
Kind of a slap in the face, though, right? 60 billion to Ukraine and only 14 to Israel.
Well, Ukraine is fighting Russia, which would be the equivalent of us invading Canada, and then Canada trying to fight our army off. Like, that would ever happen.
What do we want from Canada?
No, I'm just saying the power dynamic.
Putin.
The power dynamic. So they do need the money. Israel has the fourth most advanced military in the world, and Hamas is, however many thousand fighters that are in Gaza.
Yeah, who's the first most advanced? Is it us?
I would think so. Maybe China. I don't know.
I mean, I keep hearing about supersonic missiles from Russia and China and Iran that we don't have.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Well, I don't get it. Why don't we have that? It seems like something we could have.
Maybe we do. They're just super secret as well as supersonic. Like, I don't know.
Listen, the wars will continue so long as Raytheon has shareholders. All right. So nothing we can do is going to change that. I just want to know why Raytheon why haven't they made supersonic missiles? What's wrong with you? Raytheon, and what's the other one?
Lockheed.
Is Halliburton something?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're listening, why have you not made supersonic missiles? Please get on that.
The military industrial complex is a thing, we know, but we're going to run out of, I'm not going to go down that tangent, but yeah, the Biden thing. I shared you that JD Vance tweet. Like, that's what's happening here. He's trying to use dead babies from Israel to get money for Ukraine. What Biden is doing is disgusting. He's using dead children in Israel to sell his disastrous Ukraine policy to skeptical Americans. They are not the same countries. They're not the same problems. And this effort to use Israel for political cover is offensive. Hell no. But he's going to support funding to Israel.
Yeah. I mean, I've said this before. I said this on the radio. It's like Ukraine is the darling war of the Democrats or neolibs, and Hamas is going to be the darling war of the neocons and conservatives. And, my grocery bill at HEB is going to go from $300 to $400. And then I'm going to have to sell my home because I can't afford, anything. Like, inflation's, I don't know how it really helps Americans. I know Ben Shapiro wants me to believe that this is, we have to beat not only Russia and Ukraine, but we also have to, destroy Hamas. And maybe there's merit to those arguments, but how does it help my life as an American?
Yeah. And at what cost?
Right.
And maybe the only silver lining here is that the conflict has kind of forced, like there was there's the wars, but there's also the pushes for censorship that are happening on the right now, who are like, you got to shut down protests and you can't say these things and we're going to blacklist you if you say something. It's kind of forcing people to show who they really are. There's the Ben Shapiro, Megyn Kelly, Dave Rubins of the world, who I listen to and like on occasion on certain issues, but they're like pro-censorship all of a sudden, pro-war. And then there's the faction of the Tucker Carlson, Vivek Ramaswamy, who's more the American first. And they're sticking by their principles, no censorship. And if we can avoid it, we don't need to go to war. We need to be focused on our own country. And I agree with that faction.
Yeah. Agreed.
I don't want people to die. That makes me sad. And I want, but we've proven over my entire adult life, we've proven that we aren't the ones to go around making peace in the world.
No, it doesn't really seem to work out. I also don't want people to die, but I also don't want, America first. I think that makes sense. I don't know how any of this is America first. I know people want me to believe it, and I'm an open-minded guy. You can change my mind. Maybe we'll have a guest on to tell me why I'm wrong, but I don't see it. I don't get it.
We should do that. We should have a guest on that would take up arms on that. Well,
I'll call Ben Shapiro.
We can find someone from Twitter.
There's plenty of them.
Michael, you have David Frum's phone number. Did you say that? Was that before we recorded or after we recorded?
I'm surprised he hasn't blocked me on Twitter. I go after him a lot. He's kind of he bears the brunt of my frustration with neocons on Twitter.
All right. Well, y'all want to wrap up?
I think so.
I think we did good on time. Yeah,
we did pretty good on time. Yeah, well, I mean, wherever this gets released, it'll get released everywhere, I'm sure, on national TV, most certainly, and we'll have all our links down in the description below. But I think we're all on X, and we all have our own different little projects going on, right? So, follow us on Twitter, on X. Doesn't make sense. It doesn't sound good. Follow me on X.
Just keep saying Twitter. That's what I still say Twitter. And you know what? For future reference, we should probably, instead of having our names there, we should put our Twitter handles. It's probably a better idea.
Genius.
What if my Twitter handle is like, waifu lover 69?
Well, we will still accept you. It's okay.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people get the waifu reference, but whatever.
I know.
It's okay. You should Google it. All right. Well, yeah. Go down to the description below. We'll put our links down there. And yeah, good job, guys. We'll talk next week.